Hello, everybody. Congratulations. You have made it to page 20 and eighth notes. It's a big day for us. So go ahead and turn to page 20. And what I would like to do this week is go over the rhythm raps. Okay, so you have 66, 68, 72, and 74. And with each rhythm rap, okay, you should be able to count it, clap it, air bow it, and then play it on an open string. Okay, so we're going to go through that process. Now, hopefully, you already know from your elementary music classes that an eighth note, two eighth notes equals one quarter note, right? So they're twice as fast as quarter notes. And we count eighth notes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So in elementary school, you may have used a different system. You may have used T, 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 or you may have used numbers. But in middle school, we almost always use numbers. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. My metronome is set to 69. Very, very important that you have a metronome so that you learn how to clap, air bow, and bow on the string and with a steady pulse. Okay, so I've got my metronome on 69. Okay, and first we're just going to count number 66. Now, they wrote all the counting under 66. Do you see how they wrote 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and? We're just going to say 1 and 2 and 3, 4, because we're doing 4 eighth notes and 2 quarter notes. Okay, so here we go. Go ahead and count with me. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, rest. Good. Now clap it and count it. Ready, set, go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, rest. Okay, now air bow it. Or shadow bow, whatever you want to call it. Okay, here we go. So we're going to air bow and count. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, rest. Okay, and notice my eighth notes are very small, right? So my eighth notes I'm probably going to use about this much bow. Quarter notes, I'm going to use probably little more than a half of a bow. Okay, so these are my quarters, nice and long. Eighth notes, nice and short. Okay. Okay, now try that on an open string. So we're on the D string. You're going to start around the balance point to middle-ish area. Because eighth notes are faster, you really don't want to be at the frog. Okay, so balance point to middle-ish. Okay, here we go. Number 66. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, rest. Good. Now, chances are you probably didn't do it correctly the first time. So at this point, you probably want to pause the video, turn on your own metronome, and just practice a little bit with 66. Okay, make sure you can do every step. Okay, counting, clapping, air bowing, and then on an open string, all with a metronome. Okay, so 68, we're going to do the same thing. Okay, now notice in 68, the rhythm is 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. Okay, it's a different rhythm. So here we go. Let's count it. 2, ready, count. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, rest. Now clap it. Ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3. Rest. Okay, now air bow it. Are you staying with the metronome? It's very common in the beginning stages of eighth notes that people don't stay with the metronome. So make sure you're listening to the metronome. Make sure your arm is moving with the metronome. Okay, here we go. 68, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, rest. So for this one, right, I have a long stroke on the quarter note, and then I have 2 eighth notes up at the tip. And then I have a long stroke for the quarter note, and then I have 2 eighth notes at the frog. Okay, so tip, tip, frog, frog, long, tip, tip, long, frog, frog. Okay, so practice that a few times before you move on with me. Now let's try it on an open D string. Very common in this particular exercise for people not to stay with the metronome. So make sure that you are really listening carefully to that metronome. Okay. 2 common mistakes. Number 1, people will play the quarter note too long. Okay, so right, it just takes them too long to get from one end of the bow to the other. So I call them zippy bows. Make sure you use zippy bows on the quarter notes. Okay. And the other common thing is for the eighth notes to be too fast. So the ultimate goal is to make sure you play with a nice, steady, even pulse. Okay. If you're unable to do that on the string, go back to air bowing. If you're unable to do that with the bow, go back to clapping and counting. Okay, here we go. 68 on the D string. And again, I'm going to start at about the balance point. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest. Okay, now 72. So notice in 72, we combine 2 different rhythms, right? In measure 1, we have 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And then in measure 2, we have 1, and 2, and 3, 4. Okay, so count 72. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, rest. And clap it. Ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, 4. 1, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, rest. And air bow it. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, rest. And play it on an open D string. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, and 2, and 3, rest. Okay, that one is definitely the most challenging rhythm rap. So make sure that you pause the video frequently, okay, and don't go on to the next step of practicing until you can do the previous one, okay? Okay, final one, 74, which is actually pretty simple. They introduce a new time signature, so you have 2 beats in a measure, and mostly quarter notes, a few eighth notes sprinkled in. Okay, so let's go ahead and count 74. Ready, go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and 2, and 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and 2, and 1. Rest. And clap it. Ready, go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and 2, and 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and 2, and 1. Rest. And air bow it. Ready, go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and 2, and 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and 2, and 1. Rest. And play it on an open D string. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 1, and 2, and 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1. Rest. Okay, so that's it for this week. Just work on those 4 rhythm raps. Get really good at playing those with a steady pulse with a metronome. And then next week, we'll do the pieces of music that go along with those rhythm raps. Have fun.